Today, I'll explore the relationship between business and the planet, with a focus on practical strategies for sustainable development. This is a global conversation because environmental challenges affect communities, markets, and organizations of every size. We'll consider how businesses can reduce ecological damage, take greater responsibility for their impacts, and make decisions that support long-term prosperity. The central idea is that sustainability is not only about protecting the planet, it is also about building a thriving future for people and the planet. This learning objective focuses on why ecological damage matters directly to business performance. Environmental challenges are now core business risks, not separate issues managed only by sustainability teams. Climate change, resource depletion, and growing regulatory pressure are reshaping markets and competitive dynamics around the world. Organizations that delay adaptation may face higher operating costs, reputational harm, and reduced access to markets. By contrast, companies that lead the transition can improve efficiency, strengthen customer and stakeholder loyalty, and build the long-term resilience needed to remain competitive. This slide frames the ecological cost of commerce through four critical signals. 70% of global greenhouse gas emissions are linked to business and industrial activity, while an estimated $54 trillion in economic value is at risk from unchecked environmental degradation. The 1.5 degrees Celsius threshold reflects a Paris Agreement target that businesses must help governments achieve through decarbonization. And 2030 is the deadline for demonstrating meaningful progress on sustainability goals. Together, these figures show both the urgency and the opportunity for decisive business action. Businesses operate within an interconnected global sustainability framework, shaped by agreements, standards, and expectations that increasingly influence strategy. The UN Sustainable Development Goals provide a universal blueprint, with 17 goals adopted by 193 nations, spanning clean energy, responsible consumption, and climate action. The Paris Climate Agreement translates into corporate pressures through carbon pricing, emissions reporting, and supply chain regulations. Alongside this, ESG reporting gives investors, regulators, and stock exchanges a common way to evaluate environmental, social, and governance performance. Sustainability is now closely tied to accountability and competitiveness. For large corporations, sustainability requires coordinated action across energy, operations, and emissions. Renewable energy transition is a major priority, with companies such as Apple and Google using long-term power purchase agreements and on-site generation to support renewable energy worldwide. Circular supply chains extend the effort by designing products for reuse, repair, and recycling, as illustrated by Nike's Move to Zero initiative. Finally, carbon offsets can support reforestation, wetland restoration, and carbon capture, while companies work to reduce Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions and reach net zero goals. Large corporations have influence that extends far beyond their own operations. When a Fortune 500 company requires green procurement, it can reshape entire supplier ecosystems, affecting thousands of smaller businesses at the same time. Financial markets also provide a powerful lever. Green bonds, now a market exceeding $500 billion, direct private capital toward climate solutions at a scale governments cannot achieve alone. The central point is that systemic change demands more than internal improvements. Businesses must also help reshape the markets and policies that determine how the broader economy operates. Small businesses may be individually modest in size, but collectively, their influence is substantial. SMEs represent over 90% of businesses worldwide and provide roughly 70% of jobs, so their environmental choices can create a mighty impact. For practical actions stand out. Source locally to reduce transportation emissions. Use LED lighting, smart thermostats, and efficient appliances to lower energy use and costs. Minimize waste through composting, reduce packaging and community recycling. And go digital by replacing paper processes with digital workflows, reducing resource consumption across everyday operations. The Sustainable Business Model Canvas presents a practical cycle for embedding sustainability into everyday business decisions. First, Assess your energy use, waste, and supply chain impacts honestly. Then, commit by setting measurable targets with clear timelines. Next, act through greener operations, products, and partnerships. Finally, report progress with transparent ESG data, using what you learn to improve the next cycle. The key idea is that accountability is continuous, not a one-time exercise. Whether the business is small or global, this framework provides a structured path from assessment to measurable improvement. Green innovation is increasingly becoming a competitive advantage, not simply a matter of compliance or corporate responsibility. McKinsey research cited here suggests that companies with strong ESG performance can outperform peers on EBITDA margins by up to 21%. Sustainability can function as a growth engine rather than a cost center. The examples make that idea tangible. Patagonia built a billion-dollar brand around environmental activism. Tesla reshaped the auto industry through clean technology, and Unilever's sustainable living brands grew 69% faster than the rest of its portfolio. Sustainability initiatives often face four practical barriers. High upfront costs can make green technology difficult to adopt, but tax credits, green loans, and grants can significantly reduce the investment. A second challenge is limited expertise, especially for smaller businesses. Industry associations, B Corp programs, and UN SDG toolkits offer accessible guidance. Consumer skepticism, fueled by greenwashing, is best addressed through third-party certifications and transparent reporting. Finally, regulatory complexity can be managed by working with legal experts and using compliance platforms that track environmental requirements across borders. To close, three ideas stand out. Every business has a role, regardless of size. Sustainability must move from intention into strategy, operations, supply chains, and reporting. And when businesses act responsibly, they can attract stronger talent, loyal customers, and long-term investment, turning ecological responsibility into a genuine competitive advantage.